Right now, we're going to be talking about manufacturing and just kind of touching base on like the quick questions. So we're going to go over the minimum order quantity, pricing, samples, quality with your manufacturers. These are the very common questions that we all always ask when it comes to finding a manufacturer, finalizing your manufacturer relationship, and continuously building it. And also, just because you launch doesn't mean that you end up not switching your manufacturer. I know I've switched my manufacturer many times. Throughout your business relationship, you'll find new people come in, better pricing, better quality. So this is a very ongoing process for all of us, every single person in business when it comes to their private labeling product business. One of the questions are, how many samples should I be getting from the manufacturer when I start? How do I find a manufacturer? How do we negotiate? What is an MOQ, like what does that stand for? What is the composition of the fabric? Like if you're doing clothing, is it bamboo? Is it spandex? Is it 95%? 5%? What customization options do they offer? So for example, customization offers could be like labels. You could do sewn-on labels, hang tag labels, the gold tag stitching. There's just so many customization options. Literally, once you start this process, when you get sampling, every single manufacturer can customize for you. It just, obviously the price gets a little bit different as you go along, and it just depends on how innovative or how different your product is, and we'll go over that. And another question is, what is the estimated lead time for either samples or bulk production? So for myself, usually sample times are like 1 to 3 weeks. If it's ready-made, it's pretty instant because they already have it in their product line and their manufacturer. They can just grab it, ship it. But if it's custom, it's 1 to 3, which means that they have to cut the fabric, get your print on, literally design from scratch, put your private labeling like business on it, things like that. Then bulk production, depending if you approve your sample, that's probably about, after approving it, after revisions and the drafts, it's probably about 4 to 6 weeks-ish. Sometimes it could be longer because you might make like an adjustment. I know for me, I had to rush an entire bulk order because one time there's one thing wrong and there was a bad label or the sizing was like printed wrong or something like that on each. So sometimes they make mistakes and that's normal. And then that also delays your time as well. So when it comes to manufacturers, usually when you're getting samples, if you are in the stage or you want to get into the stage, you want at least 3 to 5 samples from the top 3 and you contact about 25 to 50. I would say at least 50. You'll have a spreadsheet that you guys all have, and then you can just put your name in, what the manufacturer name is, who is handling that line of products, how much do they charge. And this is an easy way for them to actually be a part of like a worksheet that you'll always be able to look back for, because again, the manufacturer is like a building relationship that you're always gonna go back to and continuously build on and find new people. So you want it at one place and just have it all in one place. So Alibaba with like all of the 4 or 5 stars. You can also go to the Canton Fair. It's the biggest manufacturer wholesale fair in China. It happens twice a year, one in April, one in October. So there's 3 phases or 4 phases. Each weekend or each week has different categories like house stuff, kitchen supplies, and it also can become content as well. You can use tactics of long-term business and build the relationship, because these are the people who are supplying you and your website and your customers. So you definitely want to make sure that the quality is good and you're standing behind something that you love and the people are nice. And having no MOQ is better, but if you're private labeling and your customization, there's always going to be an MOQ, because once you go into customization, like having an actual customized product where you change something, for example, you guys want to sell a blazer and they have 3 buttons and you're like, oh, I want to get only 2 gold ones, customize it a little bit, that goes straight into customization because they do not have that ready-made, which means when you go into customizing it, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. And sometimes because the labor to make one blazer is too high, they will have a minimum order quantity, which is an MOQ, which ends up being around 100 usually. Sometimes it could be less. You also want to ask them to provide photos and videos of the product when they're making it, or even ready-made. You can ask them for the real quality video and picture of them touching it, someone wearing it, because sometimes pictures that they have are like Amazon photos or AI. And it's so easy to literally take one jacket and then do like 1,500 different colors, but that's not the real color. So you always want to ask for real photos and videos of the product. And you also can customize your actual label on the heat press stamp of the product, or adding extra sewn-on labels or hang tags. Those are like 3 cents to 30 cents depending on each one that you do. So you can definitely add different customization as well. And then they also usually do packaging customization too. So the great thing about a supplier is once they build a relationship with you and they ask you like, okay, how profound do you want the customization to be from the product all the way to the packaging, they will literally have everything. Sometimes a tedious process because you are sending like the same script to everybody, it's just a copy and paste, but as they reply, you will be able to put it in your spreadsheet and be like, okay, I do like this person's reply. I like this aesthetics of this catalog. I like this person's vibe. They are such an important part in our process because they really supply everything. And as long as you also continuously build over the years with your manufacturer, they will actually give you a lower price too. We've always negotiated every single order in bulk, and we've ended up actually getting even better and better pricing as the years goes on because they just love working with you and they know that you're a trusted long-term client and they're gonna wanna do that. Your customers, when you guys create content for your brand, everybody is coming from up here, right? And then bottom funnel is who you actually are, what you sell, what you do, your services, your products, your industry, and this is how you create the audience. Playful would be technically top of funnel because that's relatable to everyone. It's funny, there's memes, shareable stuff, relatable struggles, quotes. So that would fall under top of funnel. So top of funnel is ranking or listicle videos. It's reaction content or trending topics or views. For example, Love Island show, and then you do a green screen. That's a top of funnel video. Like, oh my gosh, this was really relatable, or Huda did this, blah, blah, blah. So you basically just relate it to whatever's trending during that time. And top of funnel is also entertainment forward with educational elements because you're using something from real life and then you're using it towards whatever you're selling in your industry. It's also stories with a broader appeal. Stories could be like story times or just things that would talking about your life or talking about something that has happened to you that relates to another industry, and then you can kind of bring it down. But again, sometimes top of funnel does not relate anything about your business. It's just getting hits or views from the generic industry, and then you bring them down to your bottom funnel. You move them down. Top of funnel is also celebrity or influencer name drops. For example, like if we make a video, a green screen, like, oh, Alex Earl done e-commerce, and now I'm also launching my e-commerce business because blah, blah, blah. So you're just like leveraging celebrities. So it's kind of like whatever's trending in the market right now would be top of funnel. Widely desired outcomes for top of funnel is more like, oh, I want to be better in school. Oh, I want to learn AI. If you leverage AI into any of your content pillars as a topic, it will always hit because AI is like so trendy right now. For my own personal content and Escape, we only do top of funnel and bottom of funnel. We do 80% top of funnel and 20% bottom of funnel. However, I'll still touch base on middle of funnel in case you guys do want to know about that. Middle of funnel is more about like deeper educational breakdowns. You can do framework explanations, step-by-step processes, behind the scenes, and kind of things that would like have existing knowledge in terms of like your industry or what your product is selling. Bottom of funnel is when they move from the journey of awareness from here, you captured them. They're like, okay, whoa, this person's so interesting, this brand is so interesting, how do I become in their community? I love them. You slowly move them down to what you actually sell and to become into your email leads, your customer database, your community, your fan base. Bottom of funnel is what you actually do and what you serve for them. You can have client success stories, which would be like testimonials, reviews. You can do sneak peeks into your products, which is also in your content pillars. That would be like product education, reviews, and then case studies showing results. You can also do questions and answers from your community. So bottom of funnel is very specific to your product, your brand. You'll also do direct offers and promotions. For example, what's considered a bottom funnel is like 20% off on launch day. We're launching in 4 days. The 20% off is only for 24 hours only. And that's considered a bottom of funnel content. So if you're posting 7 days a week, once a week, that means at least 5 should be top of funnel and top 2 of the videos should be bottom of funnel. For example, if you're posting 3 times a day, that's 22 a week. So 16 or 17 should be top of funnel and the remainder should be bottom of funnel content. Bottom of funnel also is content that shows what it's like when they use your product or what happens when they buy from you. It just broke down so much less questions and clarity because sometimes we used to think about like, what should we post today? What should we post this week? What should we post this month? And ever since we found out this diagram and we learned the differences and the different topics that run under content pillars, you never run out of ideas and you have a strategy when you post.